Welcome back. This is WION Wild as One. We are glad you're watching. The headlines.
I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader.
Justin Trudeau says he will resign as Prime Minister and ask the President of his Liberal Party to begin the process of selecting a new leader. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Kyiv security guarantees will only work if US provides them, and asserts that without the support of Donald Trump and US, there won't be any NATO. Russia says its forces captured the important logistics hub of Kurakov in eastern Ukraine in what will be a key advance after months of steady gains in that area. The prospect of a cybersecurity deal between Rome and Elon Musk's SpaceX sparks controversy in Italy, with the government of Giorgia Meloni denying that a contract had been signed. Flooding hits Edenbridge, around 45 kilometers south of London, as Britain braces for more snow, rain and flooding. More than 60 million Americans are under weather alerts from the Ohio Valley to the mid-Atlantic, with a forecast of more snow, ice and rain and possibility of the heaviest snowfall in a decade.
Nearly 70 million people are under winter alerts in the U.S., with a powerful weather system expected to bring a potent mix of snow, ice, and blizzard conditions, accompanied by wind gusts of up to 50 miles per hour. The winter storm, which has already caused snowy and icy conditions in the Central Plains, will create treacherous travel conditions and potential power outages across a vast region stretching from Missouri to the mid-Atlantic into Monday. The National Weather Service saying this could be the heaviest snowfall in over a decade for some cities, and the Winter Storm Severity Index adding that the storm will have considerable disruptions to daily life, bringing dangerous or impossible driving conditions. Ahead of the storm, the governors of Kentucky, Virginia, West Virginia, Arkansas, and Missouri declared states of emergency, while Maryland's governor declared a state of preparedness.
It's rapidly coming down, getting worse.
The Kansas Highway Patrol trooper telling drivers to stay home. He shared this terrifying photo of a car smashed between two semis, and these photos of near whiteout conditions on Interstate 135.
There are some really bad conditions out here. There's a lot of snow, significant amount of snow.
The Missouri Department of Transportation warning drivers not to travel after dozens of calls from stranded motorists on Saturday night, while Kentucky State Police sharing this photo of a mangled patrol car that was hit on the highway.
We ask that you take steps to prepare yourself.
The treacherous weather comes as millions of Americans return home from the holidays. As of Sunday afternoon, more than 1,000 flights canceled and more than 3,100 delayed across the United States. Meanwhile, parts of the southeast were also under the risk of severe storms, including tornado watches in Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Brandon Rowe, City News.
Now, fresh violence erupted in West Bank as fighting continued in Gaza. The Israeli military says three people were killed and 7 others were injured after gunmen opened fire on a passenger bus and other vehicles near a village in the West Bank. These are the images of the moment of the attack. Chaos unfolded on the streets of the West Bank as gunshots echoed in the air. The Israeli forces and ambulances rushed to the spot after gunmen incessantly fired at the passenger bus. IDF claims all the victims are Israelis and 2 women are among those shot dead. Let's move on now. North Korea has dared Seoul and its Western allies by firing off the first ballistic missile of the year towards the Sea of Japan. The launch coincides with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's visit to South Korea. Reports suggest North Korea fired what appeared to be an intermediate-range ballistic missile which flew more than 1,100 kilometers east before falling into the sea. Japan claims the missile had likely landed outside Japan's exclusive economic zone. The launch comes just 2 weeks before U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration on January 20th. Trump, in his last term, sought to woo North Korea with a unique personal diplomacy. Monday's launch marks North Korea's first missile activity since firing multiple short-range ballistic missiles on November 5th last year. Blinken says the missile launch is a reminder of the need to deepen Washington's cooperation with South Korea and Japan to deter an emboldened Pyongyang.
Now, this is a two-way street. The DPRK is already receiving Russian military equipment and training. Now, we have reason to believe that Moscow intends to share advanced space and satellite technology with Pyongyang, and that Putin may be close to reversing a decades-long policy by Russia and accepting DPRK's nuclear weapons program.
President Joe Biden, who leaves office this month, made headway in deepening trilateral cooperation between the U.S., South Korea and Japan. This despite historic issues that have often plagued relations between the Asian neighbors. But the political turmoil in South Korea and the return of Trump has raised questions over whether those efforts can be sustained.
Çok şükür Türkiye'de büyük bir temizlik yapıldı. Irak'taki kardeşlerimiz Sincar'daki işgale göz yumuyorlar. O niye oluyor onu bilmiyoruz. O herhalde bir müddet sonra kalkar ortadan. Ama diğer taraftan Suriye'deki şartlar değişti. Suriye'deki PKK-YPG'nin varlığının ortadan kaldırılması ise inşallah an meselesi diye düşünüyoruz.
بالنسبة لسوريا أعتقد أن موقفنا واحد. نحن نريد لسوريا أن تستعيد أمنها واستقرارها وعافيتها، وللشعب السوري الشقيق أن يعيد بناء وطنه على الأسس التي تضمن أمنه واستقراره وحريته وسيادته وتحفظ حقوق جميع مكونات الشعب السوري.
And now moving to North America, Mexico's tax authority has unveiled new tariffs on foreign goods that would especially impact popular Chinese retailers such as Shein and Temu. The newly issued taxes, which came into effect on Wednesday, have been implemented to strengthen the surveillance of products from Asia. Now, according to the Mexican government, a 19% tariff will be imposed on goods coming in via couriers companies from countries that do not have an international treaty with Mexico. And even if there is one, the same tax will be applied to products whose value exceeds $1. Meanwhile, a 17% duty will be levied on goods entering via courier firms from the United States and Canada. And if their value is more than $50 but less than $117. Notably, Mexico does not have an international trade deal with China, where Temu and Shein are in fact based. Though Mexico is part of a free trade agreement with the United States and Canada that aims to benefit all three nations. Incoming President Donald Trump, who will take the office this month, has already warned Mexico of reciprocal tariffs over issues like illegal immigration and drug smuggling.
When I look at the outlook with regard to tariffs and the imposition of tariffs, clearly there is a negotiation going on before this administration even takes its reins at the controls in order to try to morph conditions in the direction they would like to see it go. With Mexico and Canada, there was a clear caveat last night that was suggested relating to the flow of migrants across the border and the flow of drugs across the borders. So clearly, there's some evidence here that it's not just about trade; it's about using trade as a means to accomplish something that this administration would like to see happen, which is to slow the tide of illegal immigration across the border, as well as slow the tide of illicit drugs across the borders.
Meanwhile, Mexico says the new taxes will help fight against abusive practices in the country and protect jobs. The new guidelines impacting e-commerce companies comes weeks after President Claudia Sheinbaum increased import tariffs to as much as 35% on clothing. These products include dresses, shirts, blankets, curtains, tents, as well as awnings. Mexican officials said the move was aimed at preventing the import of products that evade taxes. However, industry experts believe the presidential decree could disrupt Mexico's duty deferral program. The program allows foreign companies to import goods tax-free into Mexico for manufacturing, assembling, and packaging, and then directly sell them to American companies. E-commerce giants like Shein and Temu, which are direct competitors to America's Walmart and Amazon, and are famous for their affordable apparel, are now vulnerable to these high tariffs.
A new report ranks Mexico as one of the most violent places on earth. And according to the group called Armed Conflict Location and Event Data, Mexico could face even more violence in the year ahead. Carol Suarez investigates from Mexico City.
Mexico now shares a grim distinction with some of the world's most violent regions, such as Syria and Myanmar.
Aquí estaba yo.
A new report exposes a troubling rise in political violence and organized crime, setting the stage for a turbulent and dangerous 2025.
One of the key factors driving political violence is the presence of criminal groups across the territory. This is perhaps the main distinction compared to other countries included in the global index.
According to the report, Mexico is the second most dangerous country for civilians, with attacks targeting political candidates, although analysts say the issue runs deeper.
I think beyond whether it's second or third, Mexico is a country where citizens face high risks due to the presence of these criminal groups and the state's inability to restore peace.
Unlike other countries in the report, violence in Mexico is shaped by organized crime and internal political conflicts. The report places Mexico 7th in the number of deadliest events, 4th in conflict fragmentation, and 17th in the most diffuse conflicts.
This doesn't surprise us. It simply provides more insight into the local levels of violence happening in the country.
The Mexican government has not responded to CNN's request for comment on the report. President Claudia Sheinbaum has said the security in the country will improve, pointing to a drop in homicides in December.
But we are still far from achieving conditions that would allow Mexico to recover peace.
This data highlight persistent violence in Mexico, with forecasts pointing to a more violent 2025, driven by judicial elections and the fragmentation of criminal groups. Carol Suarez, CNN, Mexico City.
The United States has issued a stark warning about the potential for nuclear escalation in the ongoing Ukraine conflict, revealing unprecedented diplomatic tensions between global powers. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has disclosed a critical intervention by China, warning Russia against the use of nuclear weapons. In an explosive interview with the Financial Times, Blinken revealed that China directly cautioned Russia, saying, "Don't go there," regarding nuclear capabilities. Putin's recent modification of Russia's nuclear doctrine has dramatically expanded the scenarios under which nuclear weapons could be deployed. The new directive allows for nuclear strikes against non-nuclear states perceived as threats to Russia or its allies, significantly lowering the threshold for potential nuclear engagement. The Biden administration's decision to permit Ukraine to use long-range missiles against Russian military targets has further intensified diplomatic tensions. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov has already warned that this move would trigger a significant new round of escalation in the conflict. China's role emerges as critically complex in this geopolitical landscape. While not providing direct military aid, the country has become an essential economic ally to Russia, with bilateral trade reaching $240 billion in 2023. China has supplied Russia with crucial industrial inputs, including dual-use technology. Blinken emphasized the gravity of the situation, noting that even a slight increase in nuclear weapon use probability represents an extreme risk. He compared this moment to previous instances where the US warned about potential nuclear deployments, highlighting the delicate diplomatic balance. The modified nuclear doctrine allows Russia to consider nuclear weapons in response to conventional attacks that might threaten its sovereignty or internal regime stability. This represents a significant departure from previous, more restrictive nuclear engagement protocols. International experts have expressed varying perspectives on the likelihood of nuclear conflict. While some researchers suggest the risk remains low, others warn about the potential for inadvertent escalation. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has starkly noted that nuclear conflict, once unthinkable, is now back within the realm of possibility. US intelligence and diplomatic channels continue to monitor the situation closely. The intervention by China, revealed by Blinken, suggests a potential diplomatic mechanism to prevent extreme escalation. By directly warning Russia, China demonstrates an unexpected role in managing global nuclear tensions. The economic landscape further complicates the geopolitical dynamics. Western sanctions against Russia have pushed the country closer to China, creating a complex economic alliance that potentially mitigates the impact of international financial pressure. As tensions continue to simmer, the international community watches carefully. The potential for nuclear conflict, while still considered unlikely by many experts, represents a critically dangerous scenario that could fundamentally alter global security dynamics. With ongoing military operations in Ukraine and increasingly complex diplomatic negotiations, the world remains on high alert. The interactions between the United States, Russia, China, and Ukraine will likely determine the trajectory of this potentially explosive geopolitical situation. More critically, the expanded nuclear doctrine reveals multiple nuanced thresholds that could potentially trigger a nuclear response. Beyond traditional military confrontations, Russia now considers technological, infrastructural, and geopolitical actions as potential threats. For instance, the deployment of advanced missile defense systems, large-scale military exercises near Russian borders, and even sophisticated cyber infrastructure could be interpreted as provocative actions warranting nuclear consideration. The international security landscape has fundamentally transformed. Where nuclear deterrence once relied on clear, rigid protocols, the new doctrine introduces unprecedented flexibility and unpredictability. Military strategists and diplomats now face a more complex calculation of potential escalation risks, where conventional military actions and technological deployments carry heightened potential for misinterpretation. Moreover, the geopolitical chess match extends beyond direct military confrontation. Economic interdependencies, technological transfers, and strategic alliances now play crucial roles in managing potential nuclear tensions. China's diplomatic intervention demonstrates that back-channel communications and strategic intermediation could become vital tools in preventing potential catastrophic escalations. The world stands at a precarious geopolitical juncture, where communication, diplomacy, and strategic restraint are more critical than ever in preventing potential nuclear confrontation. Each diplomatic interaction, military movement, and technological deployment now carries profound implications for global security.
in from India, the country has reported its first case of human metapneumovirus, also known as HMPV. An 8-month-old baby in Bengaluru has been diagnosed with HMPV after he was admitted to a private hospital with a persistent fever. Karnataka has not given any confirmation, but the health department sources say that they will send the toddler's sample to National Institute of Virology in Pune. Concerns over HMPV began after China's Disease Control Authority recently piloted a monitoring system specifically for pneumonia of unknown origin, anticipating a seasonal spike in infections. Well, India has urged the World Health Organization, WHO, to share timely updates. In a statement, however, India's Ministry of Health and Family Welfare informed that the Indian Council of Medical Research, the ICMR, has already put a strong surveillance system in place to monitor influenza and severe acute respiratory illnesses in the country. Besides, New Delhi and Maharashtra have also issued health precautionary advisories. Meanwhile, Malaysia has reported a major rise in HMPV cases in recent months. In 2024, Malaysia saw 327 HMPV cases, which is a 45% rise from 225 cases reported in 2023. Given the rise, the Malaysian Health Ministry has urged people to remain vigilant and also practice preventive measures such as washing hands with soap, wearing a face mask and covering the nose and mouth while coughing or sneezing. However, the ministry emphasized that HMPV is not a new disease, adding that a spike in respiratory tract infections at the beginning and end of the year is an expected phenomenon. And for the latest on this, our principal correspondent, Prasop DA, joins us on the phone line. He's joining us live from Bengaluru. Hi, Prasop. Now, India has reported the first case of HMPV in an 8-month-old baby. While there is no clarity whether the virus reported in China and the strain found in India are related, get us the latest on this.
So the private hospital has confirmed beyond news that the 8-month-old toddler has no travel history to China or any other part of the world. Along with the Health Ministry of Karnataka has also confirmed they'll be sending the sample to Pune for a virology test, as in to check whether which variant of HMPV is there in that child. And also the Health Ministry is also monitoring the family of the toddler, of their health history and also the close contacts of the toddler also. So today at around 12:30, the Karnataka Health Minister Dinesh Gundu is chairing an emergency meeting on HMPV virus, and probably Karnataka may issue advisory and also precaution control for the whole state.
Right, Prasop, before the emergency meeting, what you mentioned, the Union Health Ministry had earlier said that there is no reason to panic. Talk to us about the precautions and the steps that the officials are taking at this point of time to track the situation.
Yes, as you know, the Bangalore has chilly weather during winter. So health officials also said this is a usual phenomena which take place at the end of the year, as in during December and especially during the winter season. So there is no need to panic in India as of now. But the health ministry is also tracking all the information and also collecting the HMPV guidelines which are issued throughout the world. So Dinesh Gundu is chairing a meeting at 12:30 and analyzing how the world is responding to HMPV spikes, as in from Malaysia, China and other parts of the world. How can this be controlled and taken measures, especially for the children?
Right, Prasop, thank you for joining us on the show with your insights from Bengaluru.
And India has reported a third case of human metapneumovirus HMPV, this time in Gujarat's Ahmedabad. The first 2 cases were reported in Bengaluru. All the infected are children below 8 months. Karnataka's Health Minister Dinesh Gundu Rao has made it clear there's no reason to panic.
See, whatever it is, this is not something which is unknown. The HMPV virus is it's a flu virus which is there, and certain percentage of people catch respiratory problems and cold due to this virus. It's was first found out in 2001 in Netherlands. So this is not something that is new.
Concerns over HMPV began after China's Disease Control Authority recently piloted a monitoring system specifically for pneumonia of unknown origin, anticipating a seasonal spike in infections. India had earlier urged the World Health Organization to share timely updates. In a statement, however, India's Ministry of Health and Family Welfare informed that the Indian Council of Medical Research, the ICMR, has already put a robust surveillance system in place to monitor influenza and severe acute respiratory illnesses. The ministry has urged the citizens to follow certain do's and don'ts to protect themselves and prevent the spread of the infection. The ministry has advised people to cover their mouth and nose with handkerchiefs or tissue paper when coughing or sneezing, wash their hands with soap or water or alcohol-based sanitizer, avoid crowded places, stay at home and limit contact if sick, drink plenty of water and eat nutritious food. Further, the ministry has advised people against reusing tissue paper and handkerchief, coming in close contact with sick people, frequently touching eyes, nose and the mouth, spitting in public places, self-medicating without consulting a physician. Earlier in the day, there were reports of a significant rise in HMPV cases in recent months in Malaysia. In 2024, Malaysia saw 327 HMPV cases. That is a 45% rise from 225 cases reported in 2023.
Ada sini kan? Oh kita an? Muka? Muka ada sih kata ada sih ya Allah. Ada sini kan? Ada barang ada sih. Anak ada gufte. Ida kalah ya sih. Mau sih? Ida kalah ya sih. Ya ini nanti mati. Ya ya nanti kono.
Yeah, Russ Courtney, he is not the only one frustrated. Take a look at this hole it has grown. In fact, he put this fence up, but it's since been swallowed by this hole. They want something done before someone is injured or, worse, killed.
We've been asking them to come and do this for 4 whole years, and it just don't make no sense.
DeKalb homeowner Roy Earl says enough is enough. He wants the county to come fix a growing sinkhole on his property in a neighborhood off of Busy River Road.
Sinkhole been here for 4 years, going on 5. I put a barricade up. It done sunk in. It keep caving in.
Earl says it started 4 years ago when the county fixed a sewer line starting on the other side of the street and then coming to his. He says as each heavy rain...
Okay, now check out this video. Talk about a fight for survival. This comes out of Winnie, Texas, where 2 fishermen and their dog were out on the waters of the Standalone Reservoir when they noticed something strange in the distance, a tornado. Once the realization of the danger hit, it was too late, and the men were violently thrashed by the forceful winds, flipping the boat and trapping Brian Johnson.
Oh my God!
After a month of rain in just 2 days, coming home for some looked like this. At a block of flats in Greater Manchester, residents woke up to see they were trapped.
Hiya.
Hiya, can you hear me?
Yeah, so the first thing we noticed overall was a power cut before we saw the water. And then after that, it just sort of encroached and got higher and higher. And then we tried the lights weren't working, there was no water. And then we looked outside and saw this. And yeah, not the best way to spend New Year's.